Yeah, the bike lanes has been brought up on many times, but I see this as a catalyst and a bit of a tip of the iceberg. If you've heard about the things that I've talked about, it's just one example of wasteful spending on experimentation that we as citizens had to spend our tax dollars for. That is one example of what I call a social engineering experiment gone wrong. Red Deer is a vibrant city of 100,000 people, and but we're not Denmark. Denmark has 24% population for bicycles, not us. To compare us against them is totally ludicrous. So that wasteful money should be spent other ways. There's better ways to do bike lanes. You can do them safely. In Europe, they use metal or big cement separation for safety. So we have to consider in all these things, first safety, then cost. Because if it does...
Candidate Jeffries.
Thank you very much for the question. When I initially supported the bike lane pilot project, I supported it because I thought it was important for us to provide a choice of transportation method within our community, to provide an option for active transportation which contributes to personal health. And I believe it makes our city more affordable. When I talk to new immigrants who come to our community, many of them say, and to young families as well, many of them say, I can't afford a car. I need to get around by bike. It's a little more convenient than your transit system, which would be nice if you'd improve, by the way. So I think that we need to work together. I don't see a bike lane on every street. I see a grid, north, south, east, west, through existing infrastructure. Clearly from the bike lane pilot project, there's support to have separated, segregated bike lanes that would provide safety for those who are 8 to 80 years old. Council thought about going that way, but didn't think that that was perhaps the best option for our community. I think in the pilot project, we found out differently. I think winter cities across North America are doing this.
Candidate Horn.
As mentioned by Dennis once before, Europe has different ideas there. One of their concepts is a wider sidewalk on the main arteries only. Pedestrians to the inside, bikes, skateboards, rollerblades, separated by a rail to the curbside. The added bonus is when you remove the rail, it gives you a place to stack snow in the winter while maintaining a walkway for pedestrians to the inside. I think one of the other things that would help a lot is ring road buses. Instead of all buses terminating at the downtown junction, possibly one going up 40th, down 67th, across to Taylor Drive, another one going through the industrial area up Taylor Drive, one going up 32nd Street. There's no reason somebody can't get from Lancaster to Parkline Mall on a bus in 15 minutes. A lot of times too, in peak times, you could go with 2 smaller buses rather than 1 large one and carry fewer passengers, and it would be more economical that way. Thank you.
Candidate Mason.
I think I don't think the bike paths were the right way to go about it. I think integrating mobility through the bike trails would be a better way for cyclists. I think the city's done great work on the north end. There's trails now along Taylor and 67th. That works. They're out of the way of traffic, and that's fine. I think, but the thing with the bike lanes is I think is that how the city wants to go. The majority of the people drive to work, and that's part of living in the first world, and that's part of our society. That's the society we've built, and that's the society we'd like to build or live in, right? So does the city have a role to change people's behavior? I don't think so. I think we need to build the infrastructure, and however the people want to get around, whether it's through driving vehicles or through public transit on buses or cyclists or walking. But if the majority of the people drive, the city has to build for that.
You, Candidate Gear.
I agree with thanks Rick for the question. I agree with the prospect that safety for cycling is important. I don't think anyone disputes that. But I will not, however, diminish the public anger over the bike lanes. I did not vote in support of the pilot because the general public was not consulted, and that is what the public takes exception to. The public does not take exception to cycling safety. They take exception to the prevailing sentiment on council that said, change is hard and the public will deal with it. That is what the public takes exception to. In moving forward for cycling infrastructure for our community, we can integrate our trail network, we can establish more connectivity in our broader regional trail network, and we can even extend the life of our existing trail infrastructure by engaging in more comprehensive snow clearing throughout the winter and extend the life of the existing asset that is a great source of pride for all Red Deerians.
Okay, thank you.
Here has one city-run pool for every 24,277 residents. Calgary has 12 city-run pools, one for every 95,000 residents.
Okay, let's get to the question.
Yeah, it's coming.
I know
Edmonton has one for every 54,000. Red Deer already has more city-run pools than 6 largest cities in Alberta. But we do not have a competitive 50-meter pool. Should we spend upwards of $90 million on a new competitive swimming pool?
Thank you. All right, we're going to start off with candidate Horn.
It's a lot of money for the pool, there's no question about that, but we could be losing a pool right away at Michener Center as well when that shuts down. The 50-meter pool controversy is mostly around the 2019 Winter Games. Games like that will put Red Deer on the map, like the Olympics did for Calgary. People around the world know about Calgary. We need a 50-meter pool. The question is, the net present value, is it affordable? We have to look at that issue very sternly, plan for it, and I believe the 50-meter pool will definitely be a bonus for Red Deer. The question is, can we afford it with our present tax load? Thank you.
Okay, candidate Mason.
So within the next 4 years, I don't think we have the resources to build the pool. I think if we do want to, we can accept the Winter Games, but we can also have that portion or those events hosted by Edmonton or Calgary. We've seen that at different Olympic events, and that works out fine. And I think, if we do want to build it one day, we're going to have to start saving for it. But I don't think we are going to have the resources in the next 4 years to do that.
Okay, candidate Veer.
This is my 4th municipal election. The pool debate comes up every election. It is more imminent now though, because of the prospective closure of Michener Center. So I think our first order of business is to try to protect the assets that we have in the community. But failing that, with respect to the $90 million pool, it's a great vision. It's an aquatic center vision. But we need a substantially scaled back project. Our community simply cannot afford the $90 million, both in terms of debt servicing and the operating costs for a $90 million facility. If we scaled it back to $50 million, found provincial partners, federal partners, there was corporate fundraising and community fundraising, then it's possible that we could look at funding a municipal portion of the pool, but I'm not willing to debt finance the whole pool when I look at the whole 10-year capital plan and do one amenity at the expense of doing all the other infrastructure investments that this community needs, both in terms of recreation and sports, but in terms of the community needs at large.
Yeah. Candidate Trepanier.
So let's look at this as a business proposition. We all know that pools will lose money. We won't make money on a pool, and municipalities will not do this. Make money, that is. But a pool's good for people, and people do want a pool. So we got to look at the cost benefit of this. Who's going to benefit from the pool? Is it just something for the Winter Games, or is it something that's going to be long term? By the way, we pay $24 million a year just to pay the interest on the debt. In the next 3 years, if we didn't have that debt, you'd have your pool paid for. Or I could put 240 Mounties on the ground for that money. So that's what it is. I think the answer lies probably with the Michener Center. One day we will get that, probably really soon. And why can't we leverage off the existing pool there and make it bigger and better for everybody?
Thank you. Candidate Jeffries.
Thank you very much. I think it's really about thinking about our future needs. I'd be interested to talk to Calgary and Edmonton and see if they think that if their needs are undermet or overmet, because I hear a need from them as well. I just want to be clear that the bid that we're putting forward for the Canada Winter Games for 2019 does not forecast having a pool. They would like a pool, but the bid that's going forward will not include us building a pool unless we decide to do that between now and when our bid goes in. The truth is that other communities are building facilities like this. Lethbridge is about to build their second 50-meter pool. We're falling behind in some of the recreational amenities that we have in our community. I hear that from people who travel for hockey, who travel for swimming, who travel for a number of different sports. I don't think that's a legacy that we want to leave going forward. I think we want to build a community knowing that we're going to hit 200,000 people very soon. We need to start building some of those things because we know through planning and fundraising and forming partnerships that it will take some time to get these things on the ground. So even though if we'd said yes today, it would take a number of years to get it going. And for me, we need to plan, we need to think about our future needs and build them into the plan in a fiscally responsible way.
Time.
I would be happy to take your concerns to the provincial government. I always think it's best if the decisions are made at the lowest possible level. So if dispatches are here in Red Deer, we should have the dispatch center here. Of course, if the province decide that it's cheaper to have it somewhere elsewhere, and the decision is it's obviously going to be made by the province. But I would be happy to take your concerns forward.
Candidate Beer.
For many years, I resisted the government's transfer of ambulance service to the province because Red Deer has the best service in Canada. When you phone for an ambulance, there's 4 minutes or less travel time and you get an advanced life support ambulance. We have economic efficiency because we combine ambulance and fire. The loss of dispatch. Your next mayor and council absolutely need to call the province to task on this. We cannot die on every hill, but this is a hill to die on, because if we lose ambulance dispatch in this community, the risk is that we will end up with a de-integrated fire and ambulance service. I've been in favor of using our pump co-response on fire to subsidize what's actually occurring with the basic life support ambulances that the province is providing, and we absolutely need to go to the wall on this one, and this is beyond mayor and council. We need the public to speak very resolutely to our provincial government that we need ambulance dispatch service.
Thank you. Candidate.
Thank you for that question. So short answer to you is yes. This is something that we need to keep here local. I don't know as much as I should about this subject, but I'm a lifelong learner and I will learn about this. I do know that if it's a provincial responsibility that's being, that they are the issue with us, then that's the key group that we have to work with. And I will stand up for you and make sure that we do this. When it comes to the province, it's all about money with those guys. And when we take a look at the Michener Center, for example, that being shut down is just not right. But when it comes down to money like this, we have to fight for what Red Deer needs. Red Deer is number 3 in this province as far as size, but number 1, I think, is places to live.
Okay, Candidate Jeffries.
Thank you very much. Sorry. Thank you very much for the question. I want you to know that our council has already been very active and vocal on this particular file. This council and the council prior have also stood up for integrated service, the model that we currently have, our service delivery model, and we believe wholeheartedly that it is the best system for our area. We have definite concerns around the degradation of service, what would happen if the centralization of dispatch does occur. We've met with the province, with our MLAs. We've also had, at the request of Cal Dallas, a meeting with Dr. Cowell. We've had an opportunity to talk to them about our concerns and to inform them of our desires. Peter Lougheed had a vision of strong regions for regional areas within the province, strong regional services for regions. I think that's a vision that we need to hold strong to, because that's what's best for central Alberta. 320,000 people receive service from
Time. Candidate Horn.
I believe the integrated system has to stay here as well. The dispatch and scheduling of ambulance with a 4-minute time is most impressive. If it leaves here, I believe we'll lose lives as well. People that are local dispatchers know the geography, know where the people are, they can direct ambulances directly there. This is a service that has to stay here. When you look at Red Deer, we're more of a hub and spoke to the smaller communities around us. This is a great benefit for them as well. This service we have to go to bat for with the province and keep it here in Red Deer. I agree totally with Tara. It's a service that we require. It's a service our taxes pay for, and the province must realize this and give it to us. Thank you.
Community friends, my interest in seeking the office of mayor is to lead our city where we need to go. For 9 years, I have debated on principle, presented motions, introduced amendments, and debated on principle some more in an attempt to influence the direction of our city. Oftentimes, I was successful in receiving council support, and for that I am grateful. But oftentimes, I admit to being dissatisfied with the watered-down version that occasionally results